thank you so much once again for finding time to join us on the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Another edition of today, Tuesday, the 29th of November, 2022. I hope you're having a lovely morning like myself here. I know Tuesdays, Mondays, same thing, but anyway, let's get direct into going into our day. We have a lot of things that we have lined up for you. At 07:30 hours, we'll be joined by Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disability, where we're going to be talking about International Day of Persons with Disability. And at 08 hours to 9 hours, we'll be joined by the National Union of Private and Public Educators in Zambia, NOPEI's General Secretary Nelson Mwale, who's going to help us discuss the importance of entrepreneurship in school curriculum. I hope you are having a lovely morning. I am your host, Miriam Kaimba, and in studio, I am not alone. I am joined by my beautiful colleague. She will introduce herself this day.
Thank you, beautiful Miriam. My name is Amazing Katamanda, and thank you for joining us. Just like Miriam said, on the breakfast show, we have a lot of things lined up in terms of health as well as exercising, because we have to keep fit. And on that note, I think we head on straight. Is it? Or you have something to say?
No, I'm told that, if you want to get your day going nicely, you need to do some exercise.
Exactly.
Do some push-ups. But today, let me just be honest.
Did you exercise?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you
but
did.
I hope I'll do that on set. Yeah, in the background, I'll be doing that with you.
Exercise with the instructor.
Exactly.
And I hope that for people those that are watching from their comforts of their homes, I hope that you join us in exercising. But those that are in their offices, we advise you to just record, take notes, so that after work, probably you can exercise, because you don't want to start smelling
sweat. Imagine you exercising at work in the office, and then your boss will be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, let's just get to our morning boost.
Hello, my name is Arson, aka the Fitness Puppy. We are here at Chonzi Fitness Gym in conjunction with the Camnet TV, and today we are going to do abs. Come along. So the next thing, before you start any other workout, the first thing that you need to do is to stretch. Don't forget to stretch. So first I'm going to start stretching for just 10 to 15 seconds, and here we go. Okay. Let's go. And this side. Always be ready for stretching. And let's go back to our business. Okay. Okay, the first workout that we are going to do lash and twist for a minute. And the time starts now. Get ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So just do it slowly for a minute. Let's go. Keep going. 40 seconds. Let's go. 30 seconds. Take it slowly. 20 seconds. Let's go. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. The next one, we are going to do a loading elbow plank. Get ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we go. Let's go. This type of exercise targets muscles in the lower. Let's go. "30 seconds. "20 seconds. Let's go. 15 seconds. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and cut. Okay, get ready. Up next, we're doing a leg raises for a minute. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So this type of exercise target muscles within your lower midsection. Let's go. It's not only for the abs, it also helps on your lower back. Keep going. Keep going. Three, 2, 1, and quit.
I enjoyed myself. I hope you did. I was trying to do that in the background. I think I tried 1 or 2 things.
Yeah, you did.
I had myself on record.
I'm proud of you.
I have evidence.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Elijah has.
I have evidence. I have evidence. I'm able to show our viewers out there that I did exercise with them this morning. But anyway, moving forward right now, it's always important to know what is happening with your body. When it comes to that, what are you feeling, the challenges? Katamanda, you will agree with me that most of the times, as Africans, you know, maybe Zambians, we have a tendency, if we're not feeling well, we usually, self-medication. Sometimes we get remedies, herbs and stuff like that. You know, we don't want to go to the doctors.
Yeah,
and
unless it gets worse.
Unless if it gets worse, when you see, okay, right now I'm dying, I'm about to die, then they're like, no, I'm not going to do self-medication. I need to visit the doctors. But it's always important that if you're not feeling well, you should see a doctor. See a doctor. Yeah, very, very important. But anyway, let's get direct into our health corner and see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Morning. Welcome to the Breakfast Show, and in particular the health segment. I'm Dr. Chelo Mwanza, a member of the Medical Women Association of Zambia. This week's health segment is brought to you happily and proudly by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. This week we're going to look at the importance of under 5 clinics, or the importance of child wellness clinics. And so of course, all of us as mothers, as guardians, as aunties and uncles, we've noted that each time a child is born in a family, we are required to take this child for frequent reviews at hospitals, especially for those that are under 5. One might wonder why. Is it really necessary? And that's the topic for this week. We're going to look at why it is important for you to take your child for the under 5 visits. We're also going to look at the various components that these under 5 clinics have to offer. Most of our parents are very faithful in taking their children for the under 5 visits, especially during the period when they have to receive their vaccinations. After that, there's really a little bit of slackening. But today, I want to inform you that there's more to just going for vaccinations, and that is our topic of discussion. So when we take our children for these under 5 visits, really there is a lot that we are supposed to get from there, things that we're supposed to learn, and a few things that we're supposed to get other than the vaccinations. So at under 5 clinic visits, we're going to monitor your child's growth. We're going to check their weight, we're going to check their height, we're also going to check their brain development. Also going to advise and give you information on the feeding and the varieties of food that can help this child to grow as they are supposed to. We can also talk about how, we can prevent HIV transmission in an event that a mother is infected with HIV. We talk about how we're going to prevent the transmission to the child during and after pregnancy. We can also talk about the danger signs that can be noted in a child who is unwell, or a child who has, for instance, diarrhea, what a parent needs to look out for. So then, who should go for these under 5 clinics? As the term itself is self-explanatory, under 5 clinics are meant for children that are below the age of 5. So that is from birth to 5 years of age. And who should take this child to the clinic? Ideally, would love both parents to come with this child to the health facility for the under 5 visits. In an event that both parents can't manage to bring the child, a mother can bring the child, the father can bring a child, an uncle, an aunt, a grandmother, or let me just say the guardian to this child can bring this particular child for the visits. Yeah, one other thing that I need to bring to our attention is that we have this card, a children's clinic card. So this is where everything that we do at the under 5 card is recorded. And I should mention that it is very rich with information, such that if you went to a hospital with just this card, the doctor would be able to extract a lot of information and know about the well-being of your child. And so if we look at this particular first page, it has the child and the parents' information. So it has information pertaining to the child's name, the date of birth, the birth weight, information that is very vital for us to know as we follow up this child for the wellness clinic. It also gives the place where this child was born, where they're currently staying, if this child has any defect, if they're born with any abnormality. So this particular health record will give us information. It also gives us information on if this child has any brothers or sisters, those are any siblings, or if this child needs particular attention because maybe they have a birth defect and they will need to be followed up closely, or maybe if, let's say, they were born with HIV, if they are born to a parent with HIV, so we'll know that at this particular time this child will need all that information. And so this week, that's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the importance of taking the children for under 5 visits, and we're also going to look at what the components of these under 5 visits are. So there's more to just getting vaccinations as we take our children for under 5. we are going to learn more even as we go on. So tomorrow we're going to look at growth monitoring. We're going to look at how we check for the weight, the height, and the brain development of the child. Thank you for joining us. This segment was proudly brought to you by the Medical Women Association of Zambia. See you tomorrow.
There you have it. I hope you learned one or two things on the importance of under 5. Very, very important. If you're a parent, make sure that you take your child to the hospital every time. Those were just some of the tips that the doctors were giving us on the importance of under 5. Right about now, we go direct into our money market, and just to a reminder to our viewers that our money market, just like the Healthy Corner, it's up for sponsorship. So we have the euro there buying at 17 kwacha 54 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 88 ngwe. We have the South African rand buying there at 98 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha. Wow, already 1 kwacha. Yesterday it was somewhere in 99 ngwe, but it's already on 1 kwacha, the South African rand there. We have the United States dollar there buying at 16 kwacha 78 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 11 ngwe. Wow, I think it's going toward 18 kwacha. Yeah, something that we don't want to see it graduating to become an adult. But anyway, we have the British pound there buying at 20 kwacha 26 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 66 ngwe. That is our foreign exchange of today, the 29th of November 2022. Interesting. Interesting.
We don't want the dollar.
We don't want the dollar. Yeah, we don't want the dollar to go up like that. We don't want to.
Out. It should just be a kid.
Anyway, we leave it there.
Yeah.
We leave it there, baby girl. We leave it there. We leave it there, but we hope that as we move forward, we don't have to see, an impact when it comes to the prices of commodities going up. Anyway. But moving forward, we have officially opened our phone lines. Our viewers out there, you can take part in our conversation this morning by calling us or leaving us a message on Facebook if you're watching us live. Let's take a look at some of the stories that made headlines yesterday.
And we have one suspect that has been arrested by the police in connection with the death of the couple from Kasupe area in Lusaka West, who were found dead 30 meters away from their farmhouse last week. And police deputy spokesperson Danimale says the suspect in question is deceased garden boy, aged 23 years, of Lusaka's Kalundu area.
Interesting. So that's one of the stories that we did. That was last week, where a couple of Kasupe area in Lusaka West were allegedly murdered by the now suspect, who is now said to have been their garden boy. Very, very sad. The couple was just found 30 meters away from their farmhouse. Very, very sad. I was on the ground, Katamanda, last week when I was covering the story. If you see how the bodies were, it's very, very sad. And I just want to send my condolences once again to the family. Yes, it's quite sad. But we hope that investigations, the police are going to speed up investigations and just, find out who exactly was involved in this horrific murder. Yeah, exactly.
Justice. We want justice for them.
Justice should prevail. A couple, because the wife, the woman was, that is Walia Chileshi, she was aged 56. The husband, Bernard Chomba, was age 60. I'm sure we're just living, you have retired, you're old, you need to live peaceful. Exactly. Yeah. And then, you find yourself in this situation. Very, very sad.
And they didn't even deserve it.
No, they did. No one deserves to be murdered like that. No one. And, it becomes worrisome when you find out that, someone who is closer to you can do this barbaric act.
And unfortunately, you know, some of their personal things were
Yes.
stolen.
Yes. When the police, according to the police statement yesterday, they said when they apprehended the said garden boy, apparently the garden boy is 23 years old.
And he's very young.
Very, very young. But due to, you know, the fact that they do not want to, you know, disturb their investigations, the police have withheld some of these details. So they've only given us, as at now, only his age. Yeah, so we don't know any further information, but they're doing investigations. And then they mentioned that when he was apprehended yesterday, they found laptops, fridge, that belonged to the deceased. So anyway, we hope that we'll get more from the police as investigations are conducted. But anyway, let's get direct into playing that story, and we'll be right back. Almost a week since the country was saved with the horrific news of the death of a married couple of Lusaka's Kasupe area who were allegedly murdered 30 meters away from their house. One suspect believed to be the late couple's garden boy has been apprehended by the police Monday. The police have, however, withheld some of the details of the 23-year-old garden boy as investigations are still underway. Police Deputy Spokesperson Dan Mwale disclosed the information.
Police have apprehended one suspect, aged 23, of Kalundu area in Lusaka West, in connection with the alleged murder of a couple identified as Bernard Chomba and Walia Chileshe, which occurred between November 19, 2022 and November 22, 2022 in Kasupe area in Lusaka West. And police have also recovered a motor vehicle, a Toyota Spatial registration number ADD 5815, silver in color, a television set, a fridge, 2 laptops, and 3 cellular phones believed to be property for the deceased persons. The suspect, who is known to have been a garden boy for the deceased, also led police officers to the person he hired to ferry stolen household goods from the scene of crime to where he was apprehended from.
The couple, identified as Wadia Chileshe 56 and her husband 60-year-old Bernard Chomba, were found dead at their residence after going missing for 3 days. Their bodies were found in a decomposed state, a situation that left the family bury them on Wednesday, the 23rd of November 2022, after their discovery. Earlier at the crime scene, the neighbors spoke about the mysterious disappearance of the said garden boy.
We are told they were with the garden boy who was staying in that there's a house that side. But the whole house, she was staying just with the husband. The garden boy, the same night, Sunday night, she disappeared. Because there were some 2 ladies who said that they saw a canter, they were packing something, some goods. It's like they were shifting. So we don't know the whereabouts of him because we went there, we checked, he's nowhere to be seen.
Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just for immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Television, not just for immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television. Call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. We now transition into our interview, our first interview this morning. Now, you would note with me that Zambia on the 3rd of December 2022 will be joining the rest of the world in commemorating International Day of Persons with Disability. And in studio, I am joined by Goodwill Ambassadors for Persons with Disability, Elijah Ngware, who is going to help us discuss of the importance of this day and what it means to persons with disabilities. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome.
Also, they say behind every man's success there is a woman. But this time we say behind every woman's success there is a man.
Okay.
So I want to help you that I'm also the recipient of 24 October 2021, the insignia of honor, the president's insignia of honor, which was conferred upon me by man of God, 7th President of the Republic of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema. But I'm reliably informed that the Tongas now have changed, that every name has to be prefixed. In this case, it will be Hakainde Hichilema. Please go ahead.
Interesting. Anyway, first of all, to our viewers who are, watching you for the first time, maybe you can just introduce yourself so that they get to know you.
I am Elijah Ngwale, meaning that I will die as Elijah Ngwale, but officially, NRC, I'm Elijah Ngwale, Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disabilities, and of course, as I said, signal of honor recipient, and the 1976 Zambian graduate. I'm a graduate, and many things, many things indeed.
Zambia will be joining the rest of the world on the 3rd of December this year in celebrating International Day of Persons with Disability. What does this mean to you?
Persons is the day which is designated for us in order for us to be, when I mean us, I mean persons with abilities, to know our rights, defend, speak about our rights, and to struggle for the rights. So it's a very important day indeed for us persons with disabilities.
There must be people who don't really understand when you talk about maybe disabilities, so would want to know who are persons with disabilities.
Persons with disabilities, according to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, just wait, according to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with the Disabilities, according to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with the according to the we have the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, which the UN adopted in 2006, and the Zambian government domesticated Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2012. At the same time, the Zambian government enacted Persons with Disabilities Act of number 6 of 2012, which is predicated, patented, and premised on the Convention on the Rights of Persons with the Disabilities. Now, according to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and I quote, persons with disabilities include those who have long-term physical, mental, intellectual, or sensory impairments, which in interaction with various barriers may hinder their full and effective participation in society on an equal basis with others. So please don't call us differently able. Don't call us, you are insulting us. Don't call us physically challenged. You are insulting us. Don't call us people living with disability. Disability is not a virus. So it's not like HIV. HIV is a virus. So don't say people living with disabilities. You are insulting us. We are persons with disabilities according to the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and according to Persons with Disabilities Act number 6 of 2012.
Okay. As we are celebrating this day, International Day of Persons with Disability, on the 3rd of December 2022, what different thing would you want to, to see in terms of policy, changing of certain policies so that there can be an inclusion of all, your rights are respected, you're not you're not left out in certain, let's talk about different position. I know for quite some time, persons with disabilities have alluded to the fact that, most of the time you're being left out, you're being hindered in terms of political participation, in terms of employment and other things. So as we celebrate this day, what things of different nature would you want to see?
Good. What I would like to see myself is what I call from inclusion to inclusivity. Now that's in Pombology, sounds to be in Pombology or whatever. From inclusion to inclusivity. What's the difference between inclusion and inclusivity? Our act, Persons with Disabilities Act, is an inclusion act, meaning that, for example, blind people, persons with disabilities, a child can enroll to any school that they find. You can enroll. That's inclusion is easier to do. If I don't call him His Excellency, I call him Man of God. If Man of God.
But why do you call him Man of God? First of all, I'm so interested.
But you make me do things blindly because I'm very good at doing things. Let's say first, before I lose my thought,
okay.
That one.
Okay.
So from inclusivity, from inclusion to inclusivity. Now let me give you a sad example. Blind, I'm talking about blind, don't call me visual impaired, that's an insult. Blind. Okay. Blind students in grade 12 write different exam from that which is set for you people. You are getting me? So you move now from inclusion to exclusivity. They are excluded. So if you have to move inclusivity, it means that you enroll a child into a school, but there must be every facilities to enable that person cope with the situation. You cannot say here Zambia is a good country because we're inclusion and inclusion. No. So now we need an inclusivity law. Inclusion law, that's what it is. And when you read it, I didn't bring the act. I would have read you something very funny things in the act. For example, there's something which states that when a child, when a parent can should enroll a child in any school of his or her choice, and if that school says no, then that's an offense. You are getting me? That's inclusion. That's euphemistic. That's euphemistic, and is euphemistic, meaning you are just doing it in order to placate, to mollycoddle, to mollify, to pacify persons with abilities. You just said that blind person there, chapwa. So what have you done? But if there was an inclusivity, you would say, if that school doesn't have any facilities, what? Don't put them there, and don't put them there. So what I'm emphasizing now, what we need is an inclusivity act, inclusivity laws, not inclusion. Inclusion is very deceptive. You delude, you hoodwink, you beguile, you dupe, and you lure people into thinking, persons with abilities, into thinking that everything is all right. And yet it's not. It's like this issue of presentation. Persons with disabilities, we want a representation. And certain organizations have made a representation that they want 20 members of parliament to be disabled. What for? You have heard that saying that disability is not ability.
Inability.
And disability
is not inability.
Oh, it's not inability, yes. Disability, behind every man's success, there's a woman. Disability is not inability. You are right. Thank you very much indeed. But let me tell you something which annoys my fellow persons with abilities, and which is true. Disability is not ability. The fact that I'm legless, the fact that let me be sarcastic now, I'm legless, I've got potholes in my head, does not mean that I've got ability. You are getting me? So what we need, if you say disability is not inability, you should also say that disability is not ability. You can have even 5 members of parliament who are competent, capable, what? That would be better than having them. So we have now to move. Please emphasize, Camnet. One of these days, you have a program on from inclusion versus inclusivity vis-a-vis persons with abilities. We have to move from this inclusion, not to abandon it, no. Because you abandon inclusion at your own peril, at your own danger, at your own catastrophe, and at your own calamity. So you don't have to abandon, but you have to move forward, not on inclusion. Hey, we want the CDF. CDF, you know, they want now, they want CDF, that person with abilities, eh? CDF have no apology, no bembology in italics, no to offer. CDF, to some extent, is philanthropy, is benevolence, is generosity. You give people, of course they eat, but that's not all that we need. So persons with abilities will say, we need employment. Those who are able to employ, but they have not stopped it. They want to be inclusion. They want inclusion in CDF. They are just going to give them money, like one blind person in Wapula was given 8,000 kwacha. You are getting me? 8,000 kwacha. And that blind man, that 8,000 kwacha in Wapula was very much. So he prayed to God there. And close to him there was the Kawalala. You are getting me? So the Kawalala store, I think 6,000, leaving him with 2,000. When he checked, he found that there was 2,000. So we don't want philanthropy. Philanthropy, yes, but what we need also is inclusivity, to be included, to give facilities everywhere.
Okay.
So we will please, it will be inclusion versus inclusivity.
Okay. So on the 3rd of December, you are commemorating the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. I would like to know, or who would like to know, what is the theme for 2022? Good.
The theme, again, you bear with me when I speak pomologically. The theme is full of pomology and ngolology. Let me read the theme. It starts with pomology. Transformative, quote, transformative solutions for inclusive development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world. You've heard it. I read again. Transformative solutions for inclusive development, the role of innovation in fueling an accessible and equitable world. Now, in justifying this thing, they said the annual observance for IDPD on 3 December was proclaimed in 1996 by UN General Assembly resolution such. The observance of a day aims to promote understanding of disability issues and mobilize support for the dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with ability. Now they say the 2022 global observance, that's what I wanted you to understand. The 2022 global observance to commemorate the IDPD will be in the observance of the theme of innovation. In other words, they are linking it with another theme. How many people, how many Zambians, how many Zambians apart from Ngwale and Mpombo will understand transformative, inclusive development, the role of innovation. So this theme is punctuated, percolated, permeated, perforated, and riddled with what I've called to suit Zambian Mpombology and Mwalelogy, because these are the people understand blue like big words, and this should not be encouraged. We should discourage them at all costs to say that not everybody has a dictionary, so they must be discouraged. It's not a good theme. The theme, if it was going to be inclusion, for example, I'm giving one of it. Inclusion, from inclusion to inclusivity. Now, two big word inclusivity, but it was going to be easier to explain that in the theme we put about 4 or 5 big words.
Interesting. What are some of the activities that are
but your question now, although I'm at 74 and we have got dementia and the PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, but I do remember you wanted to why I'm calling HH. Man of God. Exactly.
I was so eager to know. I'm so eager to know.
You know, before he became president, they perpetually perpetrated, orchestrated, unleashed, and peddled acrimonious, barbarous, cantankerous, delirious propaganda, disinformation, malinformation, and fake news about him being satanic, what. Now, they got, not before independence, but I mean before elections. Now, on 24th October last year, 24th of October last year, President Hakainde Hichilema conferred upon me what the president's insignia of honor. To me, it was a great privilege. He was a man of God, Seventh-day Adventist. And you know, some of the things which I remember, which were said about these people, the Tongas, for example, this time, he's singing now at State House, Mombe Wawaisha, Mombe Wawaisha, as in Mwana Tonga. So because of his accomplishments, you know, it hurt me. My wife was still living. When I heard that statement, I wept. To say I really wept. But there he is now, still Seventh-day Adventist, and he's doing his work. So to me, he is a man of God, and there's no proof that he has got his own church. And I'm calling upon those people who might follow me. He will not feel offended. The angels above will not feel offended if you call him man of God. Otherwise you say, Your Excellency, it might be a cake, anachronistic, atavistic, and colonial. Call him man of God.
Interesting. As we come to the conclusion of our show, over our interview this morning, what are some of the activities that are supposed to be exhibited or displayed or demonstrated on the 3rd of December as you commemorate this day, International Day of Persons with Disabilities?
Reciting of poems, chanting poems, dances, speeches about the rights. You know, this thing, me, I'm 74 years old. And under normal circumstances, when HH, man of God, honored me last year, these people would have invited me, the IDP, to IDPD. But alas, they didn't. That was because I would have told a lot of them, but a lot of them. So this year, even if they don't invite me, I wouldn't mind, but this hatred they have for HH, because all that they did was they wanted to embarrass the president, to say, no, this man whom I have honored has not been invited. That was the aim. So what activities, dances, speeches, people are supposed to do what? To write speeches about their rights.
Interesting.
Rights, because Jesus Christ, our Lord Jesus Christ said, and I quote, seek ye the kingdom of God first, and everything would follow. Seek ye the kingdom of God first, and everything would follow. Kwame Nkrumah, the great leader of Africa, first president of Ghana, said, and I quote, seek ye political kingdom first, and everything would follow. I say to you, my fellow persons with abilities everywhere you are, Barosland Kaufela, seek ye rights first, and everything would follow. As on 3rd of December, seek ye rights first, as provided for in the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Abilities, and everything would follow.
Thank you so much. Indeed, those some words were
too big
to understand. They were big.
Remind me, especially you, the media. Once somebody does that, you expose us. Expose Bangwale and Bampompo. So that they stop.
Definitely.
Why should we use pomposity, splendor, pageant, and braggadocio?
Braggadocio language, you know, you get us confused. We need to have a dictionary.
Now
we knew
she's copying with the way she said braggadocio language.
But anyway, that was good. We Ambassador for Persons with Disability, Elijah Ngwale, who is helping us discuss the International Day of Persons with Disability, which is going to fall on the 3rd of December 2022, where Zambia will be joining the rest of the world in commemorating this day. But right about now, we'll take a short break and we'll be transitioning into our next segment, where we are going to be joined by the National Union of Private and Public Educators in Zambia, NUPE's General Secretary, Nelson Mwale, where we are going to be talking about the importance of entrepreneurship in school curriculum. Right about now, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel. For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet television, not just another channel. For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. television, not just another channel.
Zambia has for many years relied on an ancient school curriculum that was last revised in 2013 through to early 2014. The Zambia school curriculum has made optional subjects such as agriculture, business and entrepreneurship, information communication technology (ICT) among others, while subjects such as English have been made compulsory, and those that do not perform well in English are at times even stopped from attaining tertiary education. The United Party for National Development UPND administration, under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, are keen to revise the school curriculum, which the Ministry of Education, working with the Curriculum Development Center, have embarked on. The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, has since appealed to the government to make compulsory in school subjects such as agriculture, ICT and entrepreneurship.
We've gone to an extent of creating a situation where we are promoting much of the English language. In the end, we have citizens that are able to speak very, very good English, and yet they have no food to eat because agriculture has been ignored, ICT has been ignored, entrepreneurship has been ignored. So we want to see a situation where all these I've mentioned become compulsory and English language be taken just as a pass, not a situation where you cannot go anywhere without passing English language. I think that situation is supposed to be outdated.
NUPES General Secretary also adds that there is need to revamp institutions of learning that offer agriculture and entrepreneurship skills to ensure that more teachers are trained in these key subjects.
Realize that a number of teachers would ignore going for those programs because why we've looked down upon them. We want to see a situation where Natural Resources Development College, NRDC, is boosted. It must be able to produce a lot of teachers of agriculture. This Ndola ICT college, it must be promoted so that a lot of teachers of ICT. In fact, ICT, I must make a mention that it must be compulsory to all teacher training colleges and universities so that every teacher is ICT literate.
Meanwhile, the National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NACES, has commended the Ministry of Education and the Curriculum Development Center for engaging and inviting submissions from major stakeholders for the curriculum review, and has invited all Zambians to submit views about the type of education system they want for the nation.
And if they are not aware, they will not take part, they will not submit their views. In the same vein, we would want to invite all Zambians to seize this opportunity, visit the Ministry of Education and submit their views on the possible ways they think our education system can be improved upon. A lot of Zambians have complained about the poor quality of education, and this is a golden opportunity for all of us as a people to submit our views.
A competence-based curriculum is designed with a view to help learners acquire knowledge, skills, values and attitudes that are likely to equip them with competences that they can effectively use to serve society. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Thank you so much for still staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Right about now, we transition into our next interview where we are joined by National Union of Private and Public Educators in Zambia, NUPES General Secretary, Mr. Nelson Mwale. Good morning and welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show.
Yeah, good morning, comrade, and good morning, comrade.
We are glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so grateful to you.
Looking at our topic of discussion, which has been a major topic that you have so much, spoke about, the importance of entrepreneurship in our school curriculum. Maybe you can just touch on that.
Yeah, thank you so very much. For a very long time, I think from dating back to the time I started grade 1, somewhere around 1982, 1983, and so on, I've been seeing, graduates moving from these higher learning institutions, with the mentality that when I finish, I must put on a tie one day and go and work in an office. When I finish, I must get myself a white-collar job, But when you look at the African setup, of course, including the Western world, you realize that there are very, very few white-collar jobs currently. And so, we must all collectively work together and promote issues of entrepreneurship. Now, without speaking from without colleagues, allow me to look at necessary legislation. The Education Act of 2011, Section 95, okay, I think subsection 2, does provide for a kind of education that should be holistic and prepare this child and prepare, the new generation for a kind of situation where they are able to stand on their own, even without a white-collar job. They are able to sell merchandise. They are able to do agriculture and produce food and produce things that they can sell and eventually raise some money. So the necessary pieces of legislation are there. Provisions of the law are there that will guide us, but we have lost it. I want to make a mention also and talk about, Section 98 of the Education Act of 2011 that does clearly make a mention that English language must be simply a medium of communication. Not to take, English language as though anyone who has not done English has not been educated. No, English must simply be a medium of exchange, a medium of communication. I think you realize that our colleagues in Tanzania have been using, Swahili for a very, very long time. And Tanzania, when you compare, you find that Tanzania has done extremely well in a number of issues because to them, they are using their own, local language. And so we want to go towards a situation where English language is simply used for communication, not a child failing to get into university, failing to get into college, simply because they did not do well in English. I think we must move away from that. We must be able to promote agricultural science. Right now, if you went to Kablonga Boys, you parade the learners and ask them how many are doing agricultural science, you'll find maybe it's only one class. If you are lucky, you may find 2 classes. Okay? To an extent where others will laugh at them when they come back from the piggery after washing pigs. The others are laughing. Because it is us teachers that have inculcated that skill to say agricultural science is just one of those anyway. It can be taken or not. For as long as you have your mathematics here, you have your English here, agric is just one of those. ICT is just one of those. But for ICT, I must make a mention that with the cutting edge period in which we are, where we all depend on computers, ICT is a must. Everybody must be acquainted with ICT. But with this ICT, agriculture comes first because you must ensure that there's food production before you look at ICT. Entrepreneurship must also be promoted because, we are used. When you finish, I must put on the time. At the end of the day, people are making money out there through entrepreneurship.
Talking about ICT, if we are to make this as a compulsory for learners in our school, don't you think this will have a certain implication given the fact that 70% of our people in the rural area do not have electricity?
That's why you have seen me, Miriam, on many fora that have called for that department of government that looks at the rural electricity, REA, to ensure that they go all over countrywide and connect our brothers and sisters, our parents in rural areas. There are schools that some of us have been privileged to go to where you find there is no electricity, there is no solar. I remember differing with some member of parliament who are not mentioned in the previous government when I simply told him to say, in my village where I come from, I just lost my cousin recently because there was no solar and the clinical officers and nurses could not see properly who they were attending to. Okay, so the issues of REA must be promoted. Let them go all over and have, even solar connected to these schools, so that at the end of the day, we are able to have even computers donated to these areas. Otherwise, without electricity, our core will be an exercise in futility in terms of ICT.
Talking about agriculture, I have seen where we're coming from.
Yes.
Our parents used to believe so much in agriculture, and I'm not trying to say this to look down on anybody or judge anybody. We have seen Tongas who marry a lot of women, because I heard a story that they married a lot of women because they wanted to have as many children to help them farm and everything. But along the way, we lost it. So how do you think we got to a place where we started looking down on agriculture? Because this is a place where we're coming from. Everybody believed in agriculture, people believed in farming, but now things have changed. Where did we go wrong?
Yeah. It gets back to, I think, ourselves as teachers also. We've failed to inculcate those agricultural skills in our learners. If you interview the number of parents around, they will tell you to say, I've never been to my village. I'm telling you, if you interview the number of parents, they will tell you, I've never been to my village. I just hear that I come from Kwamgubudu Chipangari, that's where I come from, by the way. Kwamgubudu Chipangari, but the exact village, I don't know it. We've lost it, and because we've lost it, our children, they think that the aspect of westernization has nothing to do with agriculture. Westernization, modernization is about being clean, being in a suit and so on. We've forgotten that. Canada, the US are the best agricultural countries, actually, as we are talking right now. The difference that our friends, the agriculture is highly mechanized. But ourselves, the Tonga culture you're talking about, including the Ngoni culture in the Eastern Province, it is that kind of culture that has a lot to do with the promotion of agriculture. So we lost it. How did we lose it? We ignored, the best issues that were supposed to be in the curriculum to do with agriculture. I told you, I said, I don't know how we lost it, because there's adequate legislation to do with the promotion of skills. I did quote Section 95 of the Education Act of Education Act of 2011, which is very, very clear, promoting, entrepreneurship, promoting, these other skills. But on the way, we lost it out because we as teachers ourselves, we are not ready to get into a gumboots and get into the field.
Do you think we are good at making certain policies and then failing to implement them?
Yes, we are very, very good. In fact, agriculture has been there in the curriculum, but I think the implementation has been a challenge. I was so disappointed one other year when I went to Bauleni College of Agriculture, only to be told to say this college is now a business college. I said, how do you change Bauleni Agriculture College into a business college? And yet this was one was promoting agriculture. Okay, so right now, if you the three of us drove to NRDC, you see that NRDC is struggling. We've not invested much into NRDC, and we've decided to bring other, courses that have nothing to do with agriculture at NRDC. Right now, if you went to NRDC. So all those are ways in which, ladies, we have lost it on the promotion of agriculture. We've lost it completely.
New submissions are being made for the revise of the new curriculum. But if we failed back then to implement these policies that we had put in place, how are you confident that we are going to manage this time around?
I'll tell you that it's about political will. We are so grateful that His Excellency, the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has on several occasions repeatedly, condemned, the status quo of the curriculum and said, this curriculum must be reformed. I think it's about political will. It's about political will. There must be that political will. Then, if there's political will, you find even the technocrats coming in wanting to implement what government is actually advocating for. So it's all about political will. Remember, it's politics that drive whatever we do. If there's no political will, then we can't move. We will end up having, you know, families where if you went to Charala, where I stay now, you find families where there's very nice language being spoken, and yet people have not eaten the whole day. Okay? And yet we have got, you know, these small holdings around Chiwombo, small holding around Telma, small holdings around Shantumbo. We are failing to plant even a simple plant for the sake of our families. We are very, very good. Sometimes we have gone to an extent, even in beating children when they speak Nyanja, when they speak Bemba, when they speak Tonga, when they speak laws in homes, because we are so much drunk with that Western culture of having homes where children are speaking English, and yet we are not encouraging them, you know, to go it the agricultural way. We are not encouraging them to go it entrepreneurial, and so we're having a situation where everybody looks for a white, you know, collar job. All those cues you were seeing at the Zamstat, I'm used to calling it Central Statistical, but the Zamstat,
yes,
the census, all those huge numbers you were seeing. If there was that sense of agricultural, you know, initiatives, that sense of entrepreneurship, you are not going to see, you know, those masses of people that are there. So it's high time that we looked at these issues, look at them very, very seriously.
I think last week I saw the president when he was, you know, attending the Children's Day, International Children's Day at Mulungushu, where I spoke about do not judge a child based on if he or she can speak the Queen's language. You know, most of the time we say, yeah, come back in not. Yeah, so we have seen very, very sad. But moving forward, what would you suggest English to be? As a compulsory course, as a what? Because most of the time we see maybe someone wants to go to college and then they're told that you didn't pass in English, so you cannot proceed. You need to rewrite it.
You realize that we were a British colony. Yeah, and that's why even in law, we will simply say we are in the common law jurisdiction, where all Commonwealth countries, you know, must use the English language. Fine, we have accepted that. We must use English because it's the only tool of communication. Okay? But what I'm disagreeing is for English language to be a distinction, for English language to be a merit for a child to qualify for a particular place in a college or a university. English language must be there. I'm not disputing, but can it just be used for communication? You should be able to read English. You should be able to speak, because who knows tomorrow, God may bless you. You are in UK, okay? You are in China. You can only communicate easily if there's English, and possibly somebody is able to interpret for you, especially when you're in China and so on. But to take English, you know, as a main issue, and this has gone to an extent of us in the curriculum having about 8 to 9 subjects. You find a child has about 8 to 9 subjects where they must concentrate and do better. And I must mention to you that our learners are quite intelligent, but overloaded with subjects, some of which are very, very unnecessary. You find whether you like it or not, you are forced. Like I must mention to you that personally, I'm one of those that did not like physics. Yeah, me, I did not like physics. Neither did I like chemistry anyway. I did not like those sciences. Okay? But I was forced to do those and so on and so forth. I had an interest in these other, you know, social sciences, but not physics and chemistry. But I was told, without this physics and chemistry, Buana, you're not going to go anywhere. I was forced to do those. Why don't we reduce these subjects, even into 4, as we do curriculum reforms? Okay. Let's reduce them. Let's have mathematics. The same English, which we worship sometimes. Then we have maybe RIE and history. Okay.
So
yeah.
Are you in short saying we should maybe only focus on the subjects that one has to do instead of making children take all the 9 subjects? Maybe someone should just, a student should just take subjects that are in line with what they want to be in future. If they want to be an entrepreneur, they just take courses that have to do with accounts, business, and everything.
Yes, exactly. For the sake of their running their entrepreneurship, properly, let them take the business courses. Of course, let them take English for communication. Okay, you're not going to impose the physics and the chemistry on somebody. Like for me, I would tell you, Miriam, that I'm a law student. I think I will be done by December. Okay, I'm waiting to go to Ziare.
Congratulations.
Okay. Yeah. But you're not going to force physics on me, because the law I'm doing now, I think
it has nothing to do with physics.
Has nothing to do with physics. Has nothing to do with physics. So this is where we must drive to. Can we change our curriculum? Can our curriculum be tailored towards a situation where it's able to accommodate ourselves as the African countries? Okay, as African countries, you find we are struggling with what to eat here. When you go beyond Chiwombo, you go beyond Mumbwa, you find plenty of land, but all of us, we want to be within the central business district. Overcrowding Lusaka, overcrowding Kitwe, overcrowding, you know, my own hometown, Chipata, and so on. And yet you can go into the outskirts and make life move.
Interesting.
Make life move. So the cause for His Excellency, the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, I think, you know, are welcome and long overdue. You can't keep talking about the pampas of Canada, which you did when you were in the 12, my dear. You can't talk about keep talking about the prairies. You can't keep talking about Adolf Hitler, and yet you are failing to talk about you know, Kenneth Kaunda here. Our children may know very little about the liberation struggle here. You know, they've got very little knowledge about Kenneth Kaunda, but they have full information about Mussolini and Adolf Hitler in Europe. So let's look at all those issues and look at a curriculum that will be of benefit to us. You know, I think even our constitution, as we head towards the, you know, constitutional reforms, I think certain provisions must be made very, very clear.
So from your side, does it look like there's a possibility of what you're talking about being implemented, or maybe it's something that's going to like take a long time to be implemented?
We do not have time to delay. All we just need to do is our teachers, okay, can they be, you know, prepared for these issues? In fact, for ICT, can it be compulsory for everybody? Yes. So that you don't go in a school and say, we are looking for a teacher for ICT. No, this teacher recruitment we are doing now, let's have a number of them in ICT. You see, we have this deficit in ICT. No, can everybody be trained in ICT so that we don't have that problem? But, like you're saying, without, you know, teacher training that is prepared for this curriculum, whatever we'll be discussing, maybe an exercise in futility, teachers must be trained in those areas. And that's why up to today, I will still call upon the government to improve the Natural Resources Development College so that the agricultural courses there are the, you know, are the majority. I don't know whether agricultural courses are still there. Otherwise, some few years ago, you know, NRDC was almost overtaken by business courses, and yet it was meant for agriculture. At one time, my teacher was telling me that when he was at NRDC, some taps could be opened and the milk is coming out. They are drinking. Why? Because there's serious productivity at the Natural Resources Development College. So going forward, like I said, even as we do, you know, constitutional reforms, can certain provisions that will compel us to look at agriculture as a first priority be there? Because without that,
Mr. Mwene, just hold your thought. We have a caller.
We may concentrate on the mining and get the minerals.
Hello, good morning.
Wasting asset.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
You are through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to? It's good to know that you're watching. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
I want to contribute that English language is very, very important. Why better education has the fact of English language as one of the major subjects is for the sake of communication. Communication, yes, without English, a student cannot communicate properly. Other subjects can also suffer without being communicated. So that's why universities and other colleges of education and other colleges that are not of education have been back to English language is the role of proper communication between the students and the lecturers. So I suppose that the English language, because to be given the importance to them.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Maybe you can just
just to react to comrade, I think I agree with him in totality. I think even earlier on I said the English language we are doing, we appreciate it so much because you cannot do any communications in accounts without the English language. You cannot do any communications in physics, chemistry without the English language. But what I'm not agreeing with the current curriculum is to take English as the core subject among the subjects that our learners are doing, to say for English you just have to have a distinction for you to get into this grade. I think, can we respect it as a tool for communication, not the way we've taken it where a child cannot cross over to another level because of English language. I think this is where, but otherwise I agree with the comrade who has just been talking in totality that indeed we need English, but just as a tool for communication.
You have talked about making ITC a compulsory subject. There are some learners or some students who would not want to do anything that is related with the computer because we have different kinds of students and who are interested in different kinds of things. I'll talk about, for example, maybe arts. There are people who just want to do music. There are people who want to do maybe acting. So can we also maybe reconsider on the part of making it compulsory? Maybe we just make it as one of the subjects where you just take if you want. I don't know what you think or what your thoughts are.
Fine. Now, I want to agree with you, but to make a mention that why the emphasis on making ICT compulsory, because if you want to act and see how James Bond acted in 1970,
you still need to
have to go to the internet and see the tactics James Bond was using. I don't know whether the James Bond name I mentioned is the right one.
And given the fact is that it's the 21st century where technology
right now, if you went to a number of these libraries, they don't have sufficient books. Research can only be done on the what?
On the internet.
On the internet. Okay. Research. So now, for those learners who are not interested in computers, as teachers, can we find ways of providing counsel to them? Counsel them to say, we have no choice.
It's that serious.
Otherwise, you'll be jumping from one library to the other. You will not find some of these books. Some of these books, a good number on Google. And you have no choice but to be literate in terms of ICT. So we have a big challenge as teachers to provide the counseling to those who are not interested. I remember teaching one child who told me to say, sir, I don't want anything to do with calculations. Yeah, that's a different issue. This person said, sir, me, I don't want anything to do with calculations. So when you have such a child, maybe they can survive. But for ICT, they have no choice. Because even the history they have to research about Chaka the Zulu on the internet. That's how it is.
Interesting. In case you're just joining us, we are looking at the importance of entrepreneurship in the school curriculum. And in studio, we are joined by National Union of Private and Public Educators in Zambia, General Secretary Mr. Nelson Mwale, who is helping us discuss the topic this morning. In case you're watching us live on Facebook, you can drop us a message, and keep those calls coming so that you take part in our conversation this morning and give us your thoughts. Now, going into my next question, in as much as we are revising our curriculum, have we done also an assessment on the ground just to, to impact the knowledge and help learners appreciate the need where you're calling for, entrepreneurship, agriculture being compulsory, ICT being compulsory? Have we put enough knowledge? Have we sensitized the learners to ensure that they appreciate this thing?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of workshops being conducted by our teachers. Of course, I may not be in the active teaching, but I've seen a lot of workshops being conducted by head teachers and teachers. I hope issues of curriculum are being discussed. Yes, the new Dawn administration has injected a bit of money to do with workshops of our teachers and head teachers. I hope issues of the curriculum and sensitization of learners is being, discussed. Because indeed, like you are saying, we can talk about curriculum reforms, but there must be, some education that must be given to our learners to say, this is what we need to do. Okay, this is the direction we are going to go. Okay, I think the Constitution, Article 8, does talk about issues of morality of our citizens, and including learners who are also our citizens. Okay, so we must go around to these learners to say, don't be surprised if now we talk much about morality in these schools, because we've seen abuse of morals. We've seen issues of sodomy, we've seen issues of homosexuality that are being championed. All those issues must go in our curriculums. Okay, in our curriculum. And so without sensitization of our teachers, without sensitization of our learners out there by our teachers, we may not achieve what we are trying to achieve, because at the end of the day, they must accept it, to say it may not be business as usual. It may not be RIE as usual. It may not be civic education as usual. There is a change in the curriculum. And we can only do that if we, ourselves as teachers, we have knowledge in that, knowledge enough for that, knowledge enough for entrepreneurship, knowledge enough, for agriculture, knowledge enough for ICT. And when you look at most of government schools, you realize that they have enough portions behind where agricultural activities can take place. There's nothing that is happening there. There's nothing that is happening there. They will begin a kapot, 2-3 days it is closed.
Now this gives me an interesting question. If we're going to make agriculture as a compulsory in school, so meaning each and every teacher, when they're into college or university, they need to undergo this training?
It may not be that way. Yeah, it may not be that way. But have a good number of them trained by possibly NRDC, by WUNS and these other institutions, a good number of them trained in agriculture, okay, bit by bit. So like I'm told they've done the same in Japan. I don't know whether it's engineering.
Will it mean now that the 30,000 teachers who are just recently deployed by the government should go back to school and be trained in those courses?
They may not have to go back. They may not have to go back, but we can start from here.
Or from where we are.
Yeah, from where we are now. Yeah, from where we are now. Remember, at law, we say the law cannot be applied retrospectively.
But don't you think that will bring a shortage of...
Where the law is about finding solutions to a problem, you can bend and apply it retrospectively. Yeah, so, but what we want is going forward. It will be expensive for us to start taking people, all of them, for refresher courses on agriculture. But going forward, where we are, can we start having a lot? It may not be all of them, Miriam, having a lot being trained in agriculture by revamping the operations of NRDC. Yes.
You are talking about colleges and universities, but with the reforms that are being done right now, when are the learners supposed to start taking these subjects as compulsory? Is it in primary? Is it in secondary? Is it where are we going to start from?
It must be all the stages.
Okay.
It must be all the stages. Okay, just like morality. Issues of morality must be all the stages. Lower primary, upper primary, junior secondary school, senior secondary school. The same with agriculture. It must start at that stage. You get to my grade 3 and tell them, get buckets there. No, your grade 7 is planted this rep. For you is to queue for water there, start pouring water. Bit by bit, you are inculcating that in them. You go to grade 8s and 9s, when everybody must have a bed for rape. The time you'll be watering is none of our business. Find the time to water, but everyone will have a bed. You do the same to the seniors and so on. Eventually, you make them appreciate. So, no, in fact, even that rape that we queue for, we can produce on our own. The excess we can sell and generate something for for a chicken. You get the point? So you inculcate that bit. Some of us that grew up in the villages, people will laugh at us to say, no, I'm one Fontini. I have some member friends that have laughed at me. Uli Fontini sana waika sana kumushi. But you see, I learned a lot in the village. I learned to appreciate that the food I'm eating, I can produce it on my own. So we must inculcate the same skills in these children that we have here in town. That's where the problem is. Especially those who are here in town. Those in the far-flying areas, they easily buy into issues of production unity. Okay? But these here, Comrade Jobix Karumba, former PS, he did promote a lot of fish farming. But if I can tell you, if you went into a number of these schools, those fish ponds are dead. The fish ponds are now a death trap because they've been abandoned and they've collected water and anything can happen to the young children. Why? Because our school managers, they've ignored those, and yet it was a just cause. Okay, fish farming was a just cause. It was promoted, it's part of agriculture. Okay, but the challenge you have for Zambia to are too clean.
You haven't eaten.
You have not eaten.
Okay.
Those are issues.
So now I'm just thinking about like the challenges, because already we have some schools that are still struggling to get just desks or chalks or boards. If we talk about ICT, we're talking about computers. If we talk about agriculture, we need things like fertilizer. We need things, the tools that we have to use to make these gardens, or where we have to plant these. Even just getting the seeds will become expensive. So don't you think somehow it's going to be a challenge for the government to provide these things for these schools?
I want to make a mention that the donor community has been very kind to us. Somebody last week was telling me that the entire Rwanda, I don't know how the government did it in Rwanda. They lobbied right now as we are speaking. Each child sits behind a desktop in Rwanda. Okay, the donor community has always been very, very friendly. Maybe ourselves as providers of education and our line ministry, the Ministry of General Education, of course, including ourselves, the labor movement, us that look at the plight of our workers, maybe we should find the time and pass through Kigali in Rwanda to find out how our friends have done, because I'm told from grapevine information, okay, of course unsubstantiated, that every child sits behind a computer. So some of these things can be sourced from the donor community, so that at the end of the day, of course, we may not manage, but with the little funding, okay, that is being given, I think our school managers can have an initiative of getting computers, each and every funding that they receive. They get at least a few, bit by bit. And I appreciate that the new Dawn government has been consistent on the funding, okay? Especially in a number of these schools, they've been very, very consistent. So our head teachers that are there, let them make it a habit. Every time they have funding, let them get these. Let them get the hoys and the picks for our production unit. They must promote that. But before that, we must have water in these schools, because we have a number of schools that do not have proper running water. Okay, so the onus is up to the Ministry of General Education. Can the funding that was given, part of it, be used in having enough water in a number of schools? Right now, if the three of us went into these schools, we find a number of schools are struggling with water. They do not have boreholes. Why not have a deliberate policy of having boreholes out of the grant that government is giving these schools? Yes.
If you do an assessment on the performance of the education sector, do you think we're heading in the right direction as the country in ensuring that we provide quality education for all by 2030? Given the fact, quite right, that learners in rural areas, anyway, before you answer to that question, we have a caller.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, how are we?
We are fine, thank you. How are you?
No, we are good.
Please tell us your name and your contribution, sir.
Our main members.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Mole, you are a leader. I'm happy you have mentioned, people who have done a lot, who have left leaders in terms of work. The way numbers, because what you are talking about is a person who can also fit into the presence, in the absence of Mr. Davis Kalumba, who can continue promoting the job which Mr. Kalumba did. Of course, what you are talking about is less learning to promote this FPU in many schools so that our children can have the starting point of knowing what to do in the future. And what we should do is that only those people who, like yourself, those people in the services now, are the ones who should implement and push for the actual work to work. Otherwise, just after Dr. Jovis Kalumba, we are not seeing much of the work. Of course, we are saying funding has been quite okay, but we are not able to make sure that all the schools, like Mwepeshi, secondary school here in Chilanga, they have been producing a lot of fish farms. I mean, vegetables, cabbage, they have been growing chickens. So those are the things we need. So even if to look at the problem, they can easily use the money they are getting from the produce they are making. So that is what we want. So Mr. Mari, you are doing a good job, and I'm happy. I'll be forced to call because you have mentioned of Mr. Davis Kalumba. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Maybe you can respond to that caller before question.
I appreciate, comrade, what you were referring to. For these issues to move, we appreciate that the trajectory we are moving, I think, is a positive one. One of the reasons is what I earlier mentioned, political will. Where there is political will, we are able to achieve. Okay? And we are so grateful that His Excellency the President, our Minister of Education, they've all been talking about these issues of production, unity. They've been talking about these issues of promotion of agriculture. They've been talking about issues of curriculum reform. I think the first thing is political will. Without political will, then whatever we are discussing is an exercise in futility. And again, like I did make a mention earlier on, the funding of these schools, can the consistency that we are seeing continue? Because it is the funding that will help us do curriculum, reforms. Without money, we can't. And so I'm calling upon the end users of the monies that have been allocated in the next budget. Can the monies be used prudently, so that at the end of the day, part of it can go to curriculum reform. Remember, curriculum reform is about workshops with teachers. Okay, we are not going to manage all of them, taking them back to Unza, to take them back to Kwame Nkrumah, to take them back to to Chalimbana. All the teachers, would depend on training of trainers, workshops being conducted upon these curriculums and so on and so on. Otherwise, without funding, our exercise will be now and void.
Interesting. I'll just, before we close our discussion this morning, I'll just re-echo on my earlier question before we picked that call. Looking at the current performance of the education sector in Zambia, are we heading in the right direction, ensuring that we provide quality education for all by 2030? Quite all right, pointing out challenges that learners in the rural parts of Zambia face. They have to walk long distances. And then we're saying we need to provide quality education for all by 2030. Are we heading in the right direction of achieving that?
Yeah, I think that is sustainable development goal number 4. Eh?
Yes.
I think I'll take you back to what I've just been mentioning. Yes, the trajectory is positive. What makes it positive? The first thing is political will. We've seen political will. And because there's political will, all of us that are following behind, we have no choice but to do the right thing. But we can only do the right thing if this outdated curriculum is gotten rid of. We get rid of this outdated curriculum, we bring in a curriculum that, will speak to what is happening now and stand the test of time. Oh, by the way, there has been inconsistencies in the curriculum. Okay? Sometimes we've been overtaken by our friends from the Western world. This country comes in with this, another country comes in with that. So, inconsistencies. So we must come up with a curriculum that will stand a test of time. But which curriculum? A curriculum that will speak to the current situation as it is. Okay? We should stop taking pride in speaking very nicely, say English, and yet our tables are empty without food.
The Queen's language is
Yeah.
interesting.
We appreciate it's a mode of communication,
Yes.
but we should not give it to say priority number one. We must have a distinction for you to do this, and yet a child is very good at volleyball. And yet a child is very good at football, but we want to force them to go into physics. Why not devote that child to be at the football pitch the whole day? So that they improve on the skills that they have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwale. Thank you so much. This is where we come to the end of our Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Earlier on in studio, we were joined by Goodwill Ambassador for Persons with Disability, Elijah Ngwale, where we were talking about International Day of Persons with Disability. And just about now, we have just concluded our interview with the National Union of Private and Public Educators in Zambia, General Secretary Mr. Nelson Mwale, where we were talking about the importance of entrepreneurship in school curriculum. For me, Miriam Kaimba, and my colleague, amazing Katamanda, it's bye-bye, and see you next week at the same time. Please join tomorrow Sharon Kalibula and Patrick Soko as they take you in current affairs. Good morning.